Hey guys, I'm back right from the previous tutorial here. We are going to be going over a little bit more information about I/O streams and streams in general. Remember from before, all we did was simply output hello world. Today we're going to be doing a few more things. If you remember that last thing that I did here when I talked about like using namespace standard. So I told you like it isn't really a good idea to use it in this global scope, but I'm gonna cheat a little bit and I'm gonna use it in main here. Now what happens here is whenever I want to do something like cout, before I would have to do std cout. Again, I only have to do cout something, but this is only applicable in this main statement, and you'll kind of understand why it's important to like not really use these using directives when you have several different namespaces and when you have a lot of code. But it's not a big concern right now, so I'm just going to put it right here in main. So what we're going to do starting out with is basically play around with streams a bit. Let's just go ahead and see out like another simple hello world just to start out with. And then there's another cool thing that you can kind of manipulate numbers as you're outputting them. So for instance, if I wanted like a decimal number, I could do cout. This is a decimal number. 15. See, so it doesn't necessarily always have to be strings that I'm outputting. And say I wanted this 15 represented in octal format. I could do that, and you'll be able to see like the difference as I do that. But there's some specific standard like stream modifiers that you can pass in before you like pass in your number that'll modify how this number here is represented. And let's say we want to do it in hex, which I'm sure is something that more people are familiar with. And then you can do things like floating points, characters. You can pretty much output anything you want. Let's change this. So, and then let's just output A. Okay, let's go ahead, and I'm not going to be using auto builds since I like clicking the little hammer, but we can just run that. And you can see hello world, this is decimal number 15, octal representation is 17, of course I'm missing spaces everywhere, and hex representation is F. So you can see that, oh wait, I put 15 here, but why is it suddenly printing F? That's because I used the stream modifier to do that for us. So that's some pretty cool stuff with just integers. And you can also do, here, I'll just leave that there. You can also say if you have like a really long sentence or something, of course I misspell, and say I wanted to type it over and over and over again, but I don't want this kind of really long line. What I can do is like character or string concatenation in my output. That's basically when you have two strings and you add them together. So if I wanted to do cout for this really long sentence, I could do something like this. And what that does when it goes to cout, it just understands, okay, I'm doing this, this, oh, and then wait, I'm going over here and doing this before I do endl. So that's all nice and dandy. Let's see, like when I run that, compile, run, see it just continues it. So output's pretty interesting, but say if you want like a game where you want like the number of players or something, that's where input comes in. So output was cout. So as you might have guessed so far, input is called cn. So I can have something like please enter number of players. And what happens is I'm going to store the result of whatever the user types in as an integer. And we haven't really talked about data types, but I assume if you're watching this tutorial, you know some basics about programming, so you know what an int is. So I can do this, and then num of players or I can do cn num of players you have. So what I've effectively done is I've asked them to enter in something. I've like done this, which will hang on console until they've actually entered something, and I'll store it into number of players, and then I'll then output it again. So let's see what happens when we build and then run. Please enter number of players. Notice that it hasn't done anything. I had 2. You have entered 2 people to play. So great. Now you have to be careful with some things like that, because I could say an A and then, oh wait, when CN interprets this as an integer, it's just going to make 0. Like, you have to make sure that what they're actually entering is correct, I guess you could say, is actually an integer or a string. See, and you can do the same thing with, say, string ABC, and then you can do CN into a string. So just do that. Now we're ignoring number of players, and we're just going to do string. Oh, and we have to get rid of this. So you can do like CN with integers, strings, anything else, really. And one thing, you notice I use this new string thing in C++. This is called a C++ string. Usually it's represented like std string. But because, again, I use this using namespace std up here, I didn't really have to write that. So you can just write string ABC. And that stores it as a string data type. All right. I think that's probably it for this tutorial. Pretty much going over some more standard out and some standard in stuff. I'll probably go more into depth in like reading and writing files in the next tutorial. But that's it. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that YouTube crap. It's Quack, we're signing out.